Hi, good morning. Happy Tuesday. It's an in oh, good. Nice to see that you made it, Wolf. Glad you could, we're getting on our right time schedule. I know it's been a little bit hectic the last 2 days in the US and with people who live not in the US trying to like figure out how we're going to deal with our new time arrangement for the next 6 months. I hope at some point we can get that sorted out and actually go to a different form of time altogether. I would really prefer a completely natural form of time. So let's get into it for today. We're working with the 21 Taras, Arya Tara, who is the 21 Taras. And today we are with Tara number 8 of the 21, Tara Zhenmigalwa Pamo. Zhenmigalwa Pamo, the invincible heroine who destroys criticism and harm. And in the prayer to the 21 Taras, it says, homage, goddess who, with a totally terrifying ture, destroys completely the demon's heroes. Lady, scrunching her lotus face to have wrinkles of wrath, exterminating all enemies with none left behind. Little ferocious. Let's find out more about this form. Om tare tutare ture daha patsa hung pit soha. So one of the things you might notice, hi Karen, hi Christy, hi Mary Elizabeth, nice to see you. Thanks for joining. One thing you might notice in a lot of these wrathful forms of Tara, there is in her mantra the word pit. And we talked a little bit about that word as a severance, a cutting away. So where tre is a tearing, pet is a cutting. And so when we see this mantra, whenever we see that pet, it's often rendered in English PHAT. And, that might not always, it doesn't look on the page like it sounds when you say it. Because you don't really say the T, you kind of swallow it, and you don't really say the A as like a flat ah, you make it more like an eh. And then you don't say the PH the way we see that in English, which is it's actually p. So it's like, but it's kind of like aspirated, like an explosion. So hit. Shen Migawa Pamo is wrathful and dark red in color. Her compassion is as swift as lightning, and she completely destroys the 4 demons. Upon her Utpala flower is a Vajra that's a symbolic thunderbolt. It represents a lot of different things, but for the sake of brevity, the Vajra is a sort of a thunderbolt. Blazing with fire. Sparks radiate outward, completely burning, scattering, and destroying demons, disturbing emotions, argument makers, lawsuits, and other troubles. So this is a really good time for me to talk about how when we are honoring and invoking these different forms of Tara or these different deities, any deity that we invoke, there's kind of the rarefied manifestation. Hi, Natalia. Nice to see you. Welcome. There's the rarefied sort of form of these deities, and then there's their action in the world. And part of what makes Tantra is that in that more kind of rarefied form, what's being destroyed, the enemies that are being destroyed are actually the enemies that are delusion, gossip, negative activity, hurtful impulses, the propagation of arguments and the propagation of drama. That's what's being destroyed. But on the relative level, people will implore these forms of Tara for help with practical matters. So, like, if somebody is facing an unfair lawsuit, like I have a client right now who's facing an unfair lawsuit, and it's just been like months of this situation where she didn't do anything, but the person who hit her car is trying to sue her so that they can not be held responsible, even though the police report said they were responsible. So, like, this kind of thing does happen. People will try to foist on you or on a person the responsibility for their own failings. And it's something that's happened to me, and I'm sure we've all had that, where it's really common. Like, I can tell you, like, a little 3-year old version of me that wanted to go down a big slide at the carnival where there were rides, and my mom said, "You can't go down that slide. You're too little. That's not good. It wouldn't be good for you." I went down the slide. I insisted. I wanted to go down the slide. I had to go down the slide. So she finally said, "Okay, I'm going to let you go ahead and learn that lesson." And so as I was walking up the slide and getting higher and higher in the air, and she said she saw my eyes getting bigger and bigger. And then they put me in the bag and zip, put me down the slide. Shoom, I screamed all the way down and got off and immediately said, "You are a very bad mother. You should not have let me go down that slide. That was too big. I'm too little." I actually did that to her, and it's like something that we can laugh about now, but it's the thing that happens even amongst adults. Like, you expect a 3-year-old to do it. You don't expect a grown adult to be like, "Oh, you're responsible for my actions." But that does happen, unfortunately, and it manifests in lots of different ways. It manifests in drama, conflict, gossip. It manifests in, people being unkind, ostracizing. It manifests in people laying the blame on each other in, like, lawsuits, when in fact it always takes two to tango. There's always more to the story. And I'm not saying that there aren't times when, like, a lawsuit is justified or whatever. I'm saying that by the time we get to the point where we feel that we need to use the instruments of the patriarchy or the instruments of this world to rectify a situation, it means that we're putting ourselves into a matrix that may or may not work in our favor. And this is why mantras like this exist, for those relative conditions. So people will chant those mantras to say, "All right, look, I've tried chanting, I've tried praying, I've tried intentionalizing, I've tried affirming, I've tried appealing to the deities, I've tried everything. And now I'm finding myself, I have to deal with some negative outfall of gossip or harm to my reputation or harm amongst my friend group or a lawsuit or a conflict." This is when we would call upon Tara number 8, this red Tara. And we would say to her, "What I actually need you to do is to come and resolve this situation." And the ideal resolution isn't that you triumph and win over another person. And I think that's a really important thing. I think sometimes we think of winning or triumphing as success in a situation like this, which is full of hurt. But in fact, the real win, if we're to say there's a win, is that something happens, the case is dissolved or dismissed, everybody ends up compensated by whatever factors they need to be, and goes about their lives in peace, not creating further threads of karma that will attach us and somehow bind us. So, because the reality is none of us really wants to come back and do that again. I don't want to do that again. I don't want that. I don't, like, I don't, if me winning means that I have to come back and do that with you again in this lifetime, in another lifetime. Thank you, no thank you. What I really want is peace for all. So the end result of a fierce Tara destroying a negative situation is not necessarily that anyone ends up getting to be like, haha, and gloating over winning. What really ends up happening in the ideal situation is that everybody goes forward and learns a deep lesson in compassion, empathy, and boundaries, or whatever it is that we need to learn. So let's keep that in mind when we think about how going up against any type of negative gossip or situation like that. At the end of the day, we're not really aiming to win, like defeat. We're aiming to have everybody turn out okay. And we can call upon the eighth Tara. Tara, what's her name here? Jen Migawa Pamo. She has a couple different names. This is in this lineage, it's Shen Migawa Pamo, but I think that I've seen other names or other versions of this name in other lineages, maybe just slight translation. All right, so now let's have our card of the day. So yesterday we were encouraged to follow the crazy wisdom. And so I followed the crazy wisdom wherever it derailed me yesterday. And I had two major, not major, but two significant derailments. One, which was in the middle of a meeting, the person I was having the meeting with suddenly realized she was supposed to be in another meeting. So we just had to like end it. And that was not like a bad thing. It was just like, I trust in this process that whatever it was we were talking about, we now are going to go to sleep tonight. We're going to think our thoughts and we'll come back to it, today or tomorrow or whatever. And that then the other crazy wisdom thing, and Joanne's asking, what deck is this that we're using? And hi, Gary, nice to see you back. The deck we're using is this one, Buddha Wisdom Shakti Power by Laura Shanti, but she spells it Santi, but you pronounce it Shanti. So anyway, the other crazy wisdom was a lot more fun, which is that a big cat showed up on my porch. And so anybody who knows that I'm a crazy cat lady also knows that I am not actually interested in getting any more cats right now. So I gave him a little food. He was super wet. I put a blanket out there. I was like, he was crying. He was so sad. He was like a cute big baby. And this cute big baby sprayed all over my front porch area. So that meant that then I had to like go out and clean up. But what ended up happening, which I thought was kind of cool in the crazy wisdom sense, was that I posted pictures of him in our neighborhood group. And I was like, hey, does this cat belong to anybody? And then in the comments, it was that this cat belongs to everybody. His owners abandoned him, or yeah, that's probably something like that, a couple years ago. And basically everyone in the neighborhood has been taking care of this cat. So the kind of crazy wisdom that I felt came out of that situation was that increased sense of connection with my whole neighborhood, finding out that he has multiple beds, multiple food dishes. Everybody takes care of this cat. And so that made me feel really good to have that like bodhicitta of the neighborhood feeling, everybody having bodhicitta for this cat. And that even though he doesn't kind of have any one home, he kind of has like every home, which in Greece and Turkey and other places, it's very like that with cats. Cats are their own selves and they just kind of live their lives, and everybody kind of takes care of them. All right, so today's card, Vajra Varahi's Creation Fusion Mandala, Bliss Swirls of Delight. Focus on beauty and manifest harmony. And what a great card after us studying Tara number 8, Jen Migawa Pamo, because she tramples drama, and what's left in its place? Well, whatever we want, whatever we create is what's left in its place. Beauty, harmony, Wouldn't it be nice if in our lives, let's just go ahead and hold that for a second. All of our dramas, all of our little petty things, all of our big things, all of our challenges like that, social challenges, all got trampled by Zhemigawa Pamo, and all that was left was spaciousness for beauty and harmony. And that's where we put our focus. So let's put our focus there. Let's see what the book says about this mandala. Where are you? Here we go. Vajravarahi symbolizes the energy of life itself. She's actually a deity in the Tibetan Buddhist pantheon, Vajravarahi. Vajravarahi, she's also in Hinduism, symbolizes the energy of life itself. Chi, prana, kundalini, these are all names of the vital life force energy in the cultures that revere her. The symbol that we now recognize as a very famous Nazi symbol, was originally a symbol that depicted something else in Sanskrit. It's been used in many cultures to symbolize this turning wheel of vital energy much earlier than when it was adopted and profaned by people bent on destruction. The destructive version is drawn in the reverse from the original version. Perhaps there was subconsciously some kind of a death wish that was put into that symbol by that regime. Very interesting. So, what we see in this mandala, though, is not that symbol. What we see instead are swirls, korlo, wheels, depicted in the mandala that sort of serve a similar purpose without invoking that symbol that's been profaned. Vajravarahi's body posture has arms and legs that are bent. This depicts the energy flow that it brings to life in the human subtle energy body, up the right side and down the left, swirling in a circle. Vajravarahi is the outer form of the secret inner form of Kali or Trumanatmo, which we did see. We had her last week. She is one of the main deities of the Chit pacification of suffering practice, which is older than any current living tradition. This practice was adopted by the Buddhists, and so the practice is still alive today after thousands of years. This mandala is a geometric representation of Vajravarahi's energetic state. In general, mandalas are about the harmony of energy as it swirls around a central point representing the deity who manifests it. You see these swirls in every culture. They're universally popular expressions of the wish to draw and create beauty. So that describing the mandala as this swirling energetic form. 4 bliss swirls in this mandala represent the creation fusion that comes from the downward triangle that represents female energy intersecting with the upward triangle, which represents male energy. Vajravarahi is all about life and regeneration. She helps practitioners connect to the wish to grow and to help others, especially during difficult spiritual eras. So, that is our card for today. So, today we are calling upon Zhenmigawa Pamo and asking her to please come and to cut and trample upon and dissolve and destroy the basis of the sufferings that we are having in dramas with other people or in conflicts, and instead to leave in the wake of those energies peace and wisdom. So that's our short bit for today, if that's what you were here for. And now let's get into Guanyin practice. We're going to start with 3 prostrations before the shrine. And let's take refuge. Namo Gurube. I take refuge in the inner teacher. Namo Buddhaye. I take refuge in the great mother of compassion. Namo Dharmaye. I take refuge in the wisdom of the ages. Namo Sanghaye. I take refuge in the community of practitioners. And let's set our intention. A person, place, situation, or circumstance that will benefit from today's practice. And today we are holding Claire, we're holding Lisette, we're holding Mary Beth. They are all still healing. We are holding Audrey, who's still healing. Let's see who else. Holding for Christy and for Barbara and for anybody else who needs it. Let's see. I have one more. Well, I will have to come back and just hold that in my mind later because it's escaping me now, but there's certainly no shortage of people for us to send this out to. And let's recite the four immeasurables. May I be a source of loving kindness in this world and all worlds, bringing a generous heart to all my thoughts and doings. May I be a vehicle of compassion in this world and all worlds, ever mindful and aware of the tremendous suffering of others. May I be a brimming vessel of joy in this world and all worlds, delighting in the happiness of others as their suffering is alleviated. May I be a balance point of equanimity in this world and all worlds, seeing all as equals and all as deserving of goodness. I light this candle as a symbol of the enlightening Dharma way. May it shine brightly for the benefit of all beings. I light this incense as an offering to Guan Yin, she who hears the cries of the world, mother of all. Om Ahum. No. Something in the water, a little dust in the water. Okay. Om Ahum. 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 Reverently, I prostrate with my body, speech, and mind. Reverently, I prostrate with my body, speech, and mind, and multiply my clouds of offerings. I don't know what's happening, why I can't get this prayer in. I had an intrusive thought, and now I have to go back. Okay. Reverently, I prostrate with my body, speech, and mind and produce clouds of offering, actual and virtual. Mm, no, it's not right. Hold on. Let me go get the actual prayer. And present clouds. Okay. Reverently, I prostrate with my body, speech, and mind and present clouds of every type of offering, actual and virtual. I confess all my destructive actions accumulated since beginningless time and rejoice in the meditation of all holy and ordinary beings. Please, Guan Yin, remain until the end of samsaric existence and turn the wheel of Dharma for sentient beings. I dedicate my own merits and those of others to the great enlightenment. 108 recitations of Namo Guanxian Pusa, calling out to Guanyin and asking her to show us where we might be able to create and produce beauty in the wake of something that has been formerly destructive. Namo Guanxian Pusa, 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 Namo Guanxian Pusa. Namo Guanxian Pusa, 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 Namo Guanxian Pusa. Namo Guanxian Pusa, 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 Namo Guanxian Pusa. Namo Guanxian Pusa, 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 Namo Guanxian Pusa. Namo Guanxian Pusa, 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 Namo Guanxian Pusa. Namo Guanxian Pusa, 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 Namo Guanxian Pusa. Namo Guanxian Pusa, 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 Namo Guanxian Pusa. Namo Guanxian Pusa, Namo Guanxian Pusa, Namo Guanxian Pusa, Namo Guanxian Pusa, Namo Guanxi Yin 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 Pusa. And our prayer for the money reciter of calm. Lama Dankun Shiksum Lakchak Salo Dakni Changchu Ningpor Chike Bar Gangdang Gangdu Kepa Dedang Der Tadu Tuje Champo Jetsin Shing Gusum Gewe Chila Chapar Sho Jamdang Ninje Champo Kunlang Ne Tuje Champo Duljar Girpan Nam Lame Changchu Chola Gope Chir Tuje Champo Trinle Jepar Sho. Homage to the Guru and Three Jewels. From now until I reach the essence of awakening, no matter where I may be reborn in those places, may I always follow the great compassionate one and dedicate my body, speech, and mind to virtue. Inspired by loving kindness and great compassion, in order to lead all Mahakarunika's followers to supreme and unsurpassable awakening, may I carry out the great compassionate one's activity. Lama Dankun Shiksumak Chaksalo Dakni Changchuk Nimpor Chike Bar Gangdang Gangdu Kepa Dedang Der Tadu Tuje Champo Jetsin Shing Gusum Gewe Chila Chipar Sho Jamdang Ningje Chenpo Kunlang Ne Tuje Champo Dojar Girpa Nam Lame Changchu Chola Gope Chir Tuje Champo Trinle Jepar Sho. And now 108 recitations of Om Mani Padme Hum, sending out the benefit of our recitations for beauty, for harmony, for healing, and for all negativity to be replaced with something better. Om Mani Padme Hum, 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 Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum, 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 Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Guan Xian Pusa. And we close with a bow to Guan Yin, bow to one another, and a bow to the inner teacher. And wishing everyone a really good day. I hope everyone's doing well. Um, oh, okay. Yes. Uh, Lisette is gonna. Yes, we're gonna hold Lisette this week for sure. And sending a lot of love. Thank you. I'm going to go and check in the comments for what folks have said. Please remember to record your counts for our million mantra recitation. And I will be back tomorrow. And sorry, I had that brain blip. This is definitely something that's gotten worse as my hormones are in total perimenopause mode. And every once in a while, it just is like, it's like my brain doesn't belong to me anymore. But it always comes back, it like usually is like a day or so and then it comes back. So anyway, I will see you tomorrow. Bye.